In this lesson we'll sculpt our blanket. So we're going to look at this feature called sculpting, which is really cool inside Blender. So to sculpt an object you just select it and go to sculpt here, and then we get the options for the sculpting here. So I'm just going to move this down a little bit just to give us a little bit more room there. Okay, so the main controls for this sculpting is the size of the brush. So we've got F for the size of the brush, and I can move it left and right to make it bigger and smaller. So if I make a bigger brush here, and then what I can do is control the strength of that. If I just click, you'll see what happens. You can see that's the amount that's actually moving. It's moving upwards and it's quite a lot, so I'm just going to undo that. And so we've got the size of the brush and the strength of the brush. So this is the strength here and this is the size. You can control this using your tablet, and I would recommend using a tablet with this if you have one, because the pressure will control the strength, and that's quite handy for sculpting. So you just click on this button if you want the pressure to actually affect that. If you want the pressure to affect the size, you can use this for things like calligraphy type effects. But what we're going to do is let's have a look at how to do this with the keyboard. So we can just slide this as well, but we can also press Shift F, and that's also the strength. And you can see the lighter that is, the less strength it will have. So if I click on that now, you can see that it's not having much of an effect compared to before. If I just undo, let's just increase that a bit more. Shift F, something like that, and now you can see it's a bit more subtle. All right, so F for the size of the brush and Shift F for the strength. Then we've got and you can see mirroring X is on. So if you turn that off, then the mirroring will disappear. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make the shape of some guy in there, and he's supposed to be sleeping or something. So I've got my strength on pretty low, so I'll just do a sort of a head here, maybe some kind of body here, and then his legs kind of in a fetal position or something. Okay, something like that. You can obviously take longer over this. I'm just showing you how it's done. I'm going to hold down Shift just to smooth that out. And let me show you a really cool feature which is called dynamic topology. So with dynamic topology, what you can do is add polygons where you need them. So you might not have enough polygons here to get the detail that you want. So what you can do is turn on this dynamic topology, and then you'll have this size here, which will basically determine how big the smallest detail will be. So if I click here now, you can see it's going to get all quite blocky, so I'm going to undo that. And so if we just turn this down to a smaller value, we're going to get lots of detail. So if you sculpt here, you can do really fine controls here and create lots of little wrinkles if you want to, and lots of details. Okay, so I'm just going to do something less detailed than that. So I'm not going to make it that detailed, so I'm going to say maybe 5, and maybe just add some details around here. Just smooth those details out, and maybe smooth out some of this stuff. Okay, if you want it to go in the other direction, by the way, it's Control. So if you want it to go inwards, you can press Control and it's going to push the thing inwards. So I'm just going to turn that off. Once you're happy, and then we can smooth this, so we can go to Tools. So let's come out of sculpting mode, go to object mode, and then we can just smooth the normals here. If you want it to be faceted like that, you can say flat and it's all going to be faceted, or you can say smooth and it will be smooth. If you want more polygons, you can subdivide this, you can make this into a subdivision surface by going to add modifier, subdivision surface, and that's going to smooth it out. So you can add the number of times you want to subdivide this and add more polygons. You can choose that here. Okay, I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to adjust the shape of this a little bit. So sculpt, maybe try and make a head a bit more. Okay, you can also use brushes with this as well, so you can use different types of brushes. So these are the different types of brushes, so you can flatten areas, you can crease areas, you can do all sorts of different things. We're not going to get into everything right now, but I would encourage you to kind of play with these different brushes. So for example, if I choose flatten, come over here, and I want to sort of flatten out some of these surfaces, I can do that. Maybe make the brush size a bit bigger here, so you can see that it kind of evens those out. Wherever you click first is where it's going to increase that. Okay, so once you're happy with that, we can save that up. So I'm just going to save file, save scene as, and just increment this and save.